morning, everyone. My name is Darren, Darren, and I will be your local guide for your first day here in Singapore. Darren, yes, Darren. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Singapore. Show of hands, how many of you, this is your first time in Singapore? Well, okay, let me ask the other question. Right, how many of you know you have been to Singapore before? Okay, so some of you, a quarter of this group. All right, no matter whether you've been to Singapore or it's your first time, even for those who have been to Singapore, you realize that Singapore has changed quite a lot, right? So Singapore is growing quite a lot, right? So what are we going to be doing today? Right. So over the next few hours, we are going to be exploring Singapore's history, our culture, and our modern development through a few different districts that we'll be exploring. Right. So we'll start off first with our civic district. Civic district is where the big, old, grand government buildings are, as the name suggests, civic district. Right, we will be taking about an hour's walk along the Singapore River, and so you can see it is still drizzling a bit. So I would like everyone to make sure you bring along your umbrella. For those with no umbrellas, you didn't bring it out. There are some umbrellas in front that you can grab before you leave the bus. Right, so we start off with the civic district. We'll walk along the Singapore River towards Clarke Quay, and that's where we'll be boarding the boat to go down to Marina Bay. Marina Bay is perhaps the most famous district in Singapore today, which is it's the area where you find the three towers with what looks like a boat on top. Right, so yeah, for those who have been to Singapore, maybe yesterday or the day before, right, you might have seen Marina Bay. Right, that is Clarke Quay. After the boat trip, we will be heading down to Chinatown, and we'll be heading to a public housing estate, the projects, if you will. You might be thinking, why are we heading to the projects while in Singapore? That's because 80% of Singapore population lives in public housing. So for you to really understand life in Singapore, right, public housing is a great place to go. This also happens to be the world's tallest public housing blocks. So 50 floors at the top, great views you'll get over the entire island of Singapore. And then we'll be heading to lunch, in the direction of lunch towards the east part of Singapore, where you have a Peranakan, traditional Peranakan, which is a very unique hybrid subculture of Singapore. Peranakan, you meet a Peranakan man by the name of Alvin, you go to his house and you enjoy a private dining experience at his house/museum over there. Right, and then after that we'll be heading back to the hotel. We'll be back by about 2 to 2:30 p.m. and you have the rest of the afternoon on your own. Right, for now,